Hi there, folks. So today I'm going to be going over common mistakes in exercise form. There are lots of different exercises that everyone does, and there are very common mistakes made across the board. I can think off the top of my head, squats, bicep curls, lunges, you name it. So whether you're doing it incorrectly and you're feeling it in your knees, maybe you're not feeling it wrong anywhere, but you're not actually hitting the right target muscle either. So I'm going to go over some more of the most common mistakes that I see and the more common exercises and show you what's being done wrong and how we can correct those common mistakes. The first exercise I'm going to go over is squats. Very common exercise that everyone would like to be able to do. Now, whether you're not able to fully do squats yet because you're weaker legs or you're let's say wheelchair bound for some reason, dealing with an injury, or it's just very hard for you to get up and down, you might be working on sit-to-stands from a seated position or a chair. If you are able to do squats, then we want to go over the right form. And I'm going to show you what I commonly see as a mistake for squats. So commonly, I see people just throwing their knees forward, That is a lot of pressure for your knees. So what I also see is wrong is everyone sort of uses their chest to kind of help them into the squat. It's not about your chest, it's not about your knees. We want to focus on hips through the glutes and our legs doing the work. So what I like to say is let your booty lead the show. So in order to do this, you want to have a good hip hinge first. Now to do a hip hinge, let's say I'm standing tall and I just hinge at my hips, right? My hips are here, I'm just gonna hinge, which means I'm bringing my chest forward a bit, but at the same time, I'm poking my butt back. It's just a hinge, right? So I'm just moving, that's all. I'm not doing anything with my legs yet, I'm just hinging. So make sure you can do that correctly first. Once we get that there, right, my butt is back, then I can focus on my legs coming down, all right? You don't have to go very far if it's hard at first, but focus on butt, doing the hinge, and then coming down. Let's say you're doing the hip hinge, but you're still feeling it in your knees. So what I would say is, let's say you're doing a hip hinge, right? But then you're still leading with your knees. Let the butt start the process first. Keep your weight in your heels if you can. Not so much that you're falling back, toes are coming off the floor. Obviously that wouldn't help, right? You're gonna fall. So, butt and hips go back in my hinge, and I start to come down with my butt. My weight's in my heels, right? Like I can wiggle my toes. If all my weight is forward in my knees, I'm not gonna be able to freely wiggle my toes. If my weight is properly positioned more in my heels and I'm using the back of my thighs, using the front of my thighs, butt's back, chest is up a bit, and my knees are not doing the work, then I can move my toes freely, okay? So think of that when you're doing it. If this is too hard for you to do, there are cables that you can hold on to. So they're tied onto a bar or onto something, into a door frame. There's some great ones you can get for working out at home, but you can hold on to it or even do it at a counter, kitchen counter, holding on. Butt goes back, and then you can keep that weight in your toes. Holding onto the cables, butt goes back, weight's back. So that may help you if you're having a really hard time not getting the correct form and you're always putting weight forward in your knees, okay? The other thing I see, if we have weak knees, we have weak legs, I'll see people come down to do a squat and their legs are shaking when they're going up and down, right? So we want to be careful with that, and that's why maybe starting off in a chair, doing sit-to-stands, using some straps to help you, because we don't want your knees to give out because your legs are too weak. But this is why we're doing this type of work, is to strengthen these muscles up here. So don't give up. When you have mastered, you have pretty good balance. Let's say you can balance on one leg. You can balance toe to heel, one foot in front of the other in a tandem position. That is important, and being able to do a squat, then you might be able to do lunges or split squats. When I talk about a lunge, I'm not talking about forward lunge, up, down, and back, or in a reverse lunge, back and forward. Right now I'm going to talk about a split squat, a static lunge where you're just going to be in this position going up and down. So this does require balance because you're on a bit of a rail, okay? My back heel is off the floor. So if you're falling over trying to get in this position, either have something nearby to hold on to, or maybe you're not quite ready to do this move. But what I see incorrectly on lunges is that I see the knee, the front knee again, coming forward, right? That's not good for your knee. And then I also see a lot of this, like we're crunching up, right? And I don't want to see that either. So what we want to try to do is let the back leg do the work. Back heel's off the floor. I've got good balance, right? And then I'm going to let my back knee do the work. And back up. So my back leg, all here, my thigh is feeling the work. If this hurts your back knee, you could try to do a quarter or half lunge. Just something very small, right? Just strengthening this area. I'm not expecting you to come down low if you have a bad knee, okay? Because that will put extra pressure into your knee. We also want our chest, you don't have to be necessarily totally upright. You can bring your chest forward just a tad, and then keep that chest still. Let your leg do the work. Don't be moving your chest to do this move. And once you've worked on that, you're doing it in the right direction. When it comes to form, when we are doing exercises with weights, I will often see subtle errors in our form. So that could be overarching of our back, maybe our chest is forward, maybe our abs are not engaged. There's quite a few different little subtle things that we can see. One big common thing I see is when it comes to bicep curls. So bicep curl is my elbows are at my side, so hugging my shirt, and I just go up and down. That's it. But what I'll see sometimes is people will put their elbows in front of their hips. So you're resting your elbows against your body, and you're using your body to help you get up when it's heavy. But our elbows should be at our side, up and down. I'm not using my body to do the work, my bicep is doing the work. What I also see when it gets heavy is someone will pull their arms back to do the bicep curl. So instead of keeping it at your side, just letting your bicep do the work, they'll just slightly pull back. So you can see my elbows slightly pull back, and then I do the curl. So the backs of your arms are actually helping you. You're not letting your bicep do the full work. So you're not getting everything you can out of the exercise. So remember, elbows directly at your side, like you're hugging your shirt, right? There shouldn't be any gap in between. My elbows shouldn't be allowed to move when I'm doing this. They stay still, and I go up and down. When we're on the floor, there's a variety of very common exercises that I see done incorrectly. Crunches for your abs, push-ups, and planks. So I'm gonna go over those moves now. So we'll start with a crunch. A crunch is just to target your stomach muscles. So what I often see very incorrectly, very common, is people pulling on their necks, right? So if your hands are behind your head and you're just doing a little up and down crunch, it should be all coming from here. Your neck muscles may be doing work, and it might be a little sore if you have weak neck muscles, but we're strengthening those muscles. So remember, it's not just about your neck, right? Or just about your abs, it's also about your neck. So it's just a little up and down. Even if you're doing a full sit-up, right? Up and down. You don't want to pull on your neck. So I will very commonly see people are pulling on their neck to help them get up. So if you're worried about constantly pulling on your neck, you don't have to have your hands behind your head. You can have your hands across your chest and be doing it. You can have your hands here and do it, but just don't pull on your neck. When it comes to push-ups and planks, very commonly I will see that our abs are not properly engaged, our hips are dropping, we're getting an arch in our lower back, and that's where people will feel some discomfort is, oh, I'm feeling it in my lower back, because we're not actively engaging our core. So before you're moving on to doing advanced planks or advanced push-ups, you need to also be able to know how to tilt your core, engage your core properly, your abs, so that you're not having that big arch in your lower back. So for a push-up, what I commonly see that's incorrect, let's go with doing it basic on our knees, right? So let's say I'm here, I'll see the hips are so far forward that there's an arch in my back. Well, that's gonna hurt my back, right? We don't want that. We wanna engage our stomach muscles, keep it nice and flat, pelvic, our hips are tilted a bit to keep nice lower ab strength, and then I'm going up and down. The other common thing I see with push-ups, someone leaves their butt up and they come down. That's a lot of extra pressure in your shoulders. Get those hips forward, up and down. Another thing, which is really common, it's nothing bad, but maybe you could be aware of it, is people lead with their head. So they do it, but they lead with their head. Try to keep your head still. Remember, a push-up is letting your chest and your arms do the work for you, okay? That's the target muscle. When it comes to our plank, it's also something very similar to a push-up, right? When we're in a position, let's say on our knees, again, it's the hips are down too low, abs are not tight, my lower back is gonna feel this, okay? So again, tuck your hips, right? Do a pelvic tilt there, nice lower ab strength, looking forward. I'm not looking down. This is not good for our neck, right? Looking straight down, maybe a little bit in front of you. Strong shoulders, strong arms, strong hips, strong abs. That's your plank, all right? If at any point in time you're up on your toes, you're doing more advanced moves, and you feel something that's not right, take a step back, maybe film yourself or ask someone to watch you and observe you and see what's going on that's incorrect. Then make an adjustment or go back to a more modified option. Try to get stronger before you move up to something more advanced. Good luck. I hope a lot of these little corrections are something you may or may not be doing and that you might see for your own self, and then maybe you can make some adjustments and feel better about your exercises.